So, guys, here is the thing about Tomi Lahren, right? And her continuous attack on the hip hop culture, which is our culture, black culture, right? Tomi Lahren, who I've talked about before in previous videos, but Tomi Lahren is of course, and obviously a white girl. I would consider her the slave master's daughter. And what I mean by slave master's daughter is you have the slave master who obviously has, children of his own, who is, the head of the slave quarters. He has his offspring who are under his, you know, tutelage, but the daughter of the slave master is observing all the black slaves, it's particularly the black men, observing them, seeing how they work, seeing how they talk and communicate. All the while, the slave master's daughter, is extremely infatuated with those men to the point where she is sexually attracted to these black slaves, right? And so it's kind of awkward, but it's like the slave master's daughter is attracted to them, but she doesn't really know how to approach these black slaves because her father is a slave master, and that the mixing of races is prohibited unless they allow that to happen, which of course you had so much miscegenation, aka mixing of races, going on in slave quarters. But it's awkward for a slave master daughter to approach a black slave, for sexual favors, whatever the case may be. And the only way to kind of get their attention is to kind of do uncertain and just random things, to get their attention. Just basically, they're socially awkward towards other races, is the point about that, right? And so Tomi Lahren is the same exact deal. She grew up in a town called Rapid City, South Dakota. Rapid City, South Dakota doesn't have much black people, if at all. About 1% of black people live in South Dakota, particularly at Rapid City. So she had very little interaction with black people in black society. And so the only way for her to, because she's so infatuated with black society and black culture, obviously she listened to hip hop, and she's infatuated with the culture, right? So the only way for her to actually get and garner the attention, besides interacting with coons and sambos, but to talk with the Cardi B's and the Nicki Minaj's and the Wale's of the world, is to go on attack mode, demonize, right? Hip hop, demonize these artists, name call, etc. Just do what you can do. Be socially awkward towards hip hop, because that's your only way. You've never really grown up with black people. You don't know how to interact with them, right? So that's what she's doing. She's socially awkward, and she's never really been interactive, and she's never been around black people growing up in Rapid City, South Dakota, which you would consider a culturally inept city. Like there's really no diversity in culture there at all when it comes to Rapid City, South Dakota. And I believe she was raised in a military family. But yeah, there's no diversity at all when it comes to cultures out in Rapid City, South Dakota. But, most recently, she's been going on an attack mode, going after people like Cardi B, and most recently 21 Savage by insulting 21 Savage deport to the UK, and she was actually known for reciting the lyrics to one of 21 Savage's songs, the bank account song, right? She knew that song word for word, and she even had little white hand gestures. You know how white people like to mimic black people, or they want to mimic our style, and she was so awkward doing that little hand gesture and shit. It's corny as hell. But she flipped it, and now she insulted 21 Savage by saying, quote, "I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ICE agents ready to deport you." And here's the thing about that, right? Again, she is socially awkward and inept when it comes to interacting with black people. It's just that simple. The only people that will interact with her on a normality basis is Sambos and Coons, right? It's just that simple. But other than that, this is her way of interacting with the hip hop culture, is to act like you are really infatuated with our culture, but at the same time demonize and ridicule the hip hop culture who don't fall in line with your agenda, which is white supremacy. Right? And so that's why she is so she understands and is so compatible with the people like a Donald Trump, aka Clockwork Orange. She's so compatible with him because he grew up the same way. Didn't interact with black people, if at all. Donald Trump. I mean, he grew up around little to no black people, and the only way he actually was able to interact with them was, in this case, by employing them, because he was able to establish, his wealth, because his father was wealthy in real estate, and he was able to start his own business in real estate, etc., and employ black folks who work for them. And so that was the only way for him to interact with black people, is by employing them, right? And then now it's when it comes to the game and the code of white supremacy, it's using black people as pawns for your own agenda, which is white supremacy. So that's what Trump understands and knows that, and Tomi Lahren understands and knows that, right? So, she has been, like I said, she has been very opinionated and demonizing hip hop for quite some time, ever since she's been on the scene, being a social commentator for the conservative crowd, for the alt-right crowd, for the identitarian crowd, etc. Right? But the thing about it is that when someone like a Lauryn Hill, as I mentioned before, her objective and her job is to demonize hip hop to the point where she wants to employ her narrative of white supremacy on hip hop. Right? That's her job, is to completely control the narrative of hip hop by making sure it has a conservative tone, and her ideology is adopted in our hip hop culture, right? And when she had a little interaction with Nicki Minaj hit it right on the head. She said in her tweet, she said, "Your obsession with our culture," what she means by our culture is black culture, our culture. "Your obsession with our culture is scary, to say the least. I hate giving you attention you so desperately crave. Laughing at people getting deported as if your ancestors discovered America. Are you Native American? You fucking clown," right? And, Tomi Lahren responded by saying, when you're in this country illegally, you get deported. I didn't write the law, and neither did ICE. They enforce it. I hope 21 Savage is able to get an entertainment visa or become a citizen one day. P.S. My ancestors did discover America. You see? Now, we've been talking about this. Dr. Claude Addison has been talking about this as well. He's been saying that people who are classified as white want to claim they're Native American to get those benefits. And it's been happening since the Dawes Rolls. It's been happening for a long time. And so Tomi Lahren is playing that white supremacist con game of saying, yeah, I have Native Americans that discovered America. My ancestors did, when we know goddamn well she's not Native American at all. She's full-blown Caucasoid European. We all know this. You know what I'm saying? We all know this. So, yeah, just another white supremacist con game by claiming false narratives of Native American ancestry when you are classified as white, trying to get those benefits. That's a flat out lie. And shout out to Nicki Minaj for calling her bullshit on that. You know what I'm saying? So, and last but not least, even the rapper The Game went after her, just going in on this chick, just major insults, and rightfully so. It's here's the thing, and here's a sidebar about Tomi Lahren. There has to be, or there will be, a sex tape of Tomi Lahren, and I'm sure it's already one that's been created, but it's really tight-lipped. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody who can get stuff like that is somebody like The Game, who can expose that. So, I would not be surprised if there's some kind of sex tape or whatever of Tomi Lahren getting smutted out. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised, and somebody like The Game will expose that. But yeah, he went on a tirade insulting Tomi Lahren, talking about she swallowed the whole UNLV team. She got a cracked skull. She needs to stay out of the tanning salon. You know what I'm saying? So, call her a bum bitch, a bird, just all kinds of insults, man. And again, rightfully so. Rightfully so. So, yeah, like I said, Tomi Lahren is just completely socially awkward when it comes to black people. Her way of liking someone in black society is by demonizing them and insulting them, because she never grew up around black people growing up in her little white town of Rapid City, South Dakota rather. So that's her way. That's her way. You know what I mean? And the only way that she can actually really interact with black people is by talking with Sambos and Coons. That makes her feel comfortable. And I got to include Charlamagne the God for doing that. And I understand that you were just trying to, interact with her, trying to understand her point of view and stuff like that. But to act like, just to act like you were really trying to understand her rather than just denouncing her from the get-go, you got to question that. You know what I mean? You got to question that. So yeah, fam, those are my quick thoughts about Tomi Lahren and her continuous onslaught of the hip hop culture, and trying to demonize it and make sure that her ideology of white supremacy is adopted within the hip hop culture, which won't work at all. Which won't work. Will not work. All right, family. So those are my thoughts about that. Leave your comments down below in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Till next time, make sure you follow me on social media on Instagram at GMOGMediaTV. Till next time, Chauncey, a.k.a. GMOGMediaTV, signing out. Peace.